They're going to be accompanied by another great songwriter and arranger and producer, McKinley Jackson, also from Detroit. And he got his start doing sessions at Motown, and then arranged basically every track at Hot Wax and Victus, the label that these guys set up after Motown. So we're really happy to have him here. And I understand it took you a minute to get here.
I'm happy to be here, though. We won't go through the details.
He had quite a commitment. He's got another gig with the Temps. He was doing a special event with Pat Riley.
That's right.
And you took an overnight bus.
A bus. But I love these guys, so I'm here. I love these guys.
So how are you guys doing?
Great, just fine.
Eddie
glad
and,
to be
just
here,
in
glad
case.
to be here.
Eddie and Brian, just in
They
case.
look like twins.
Eddie
Glad
and
to be
Brian.
here.
But you,
Absolutely.
so you were kids, you were singers, right? So what was the switch into this other thing, writers and
Well,
Brian?
you know that music you just heard up here, Harry? Did you relate to that gospel music that sort of gets in the soul and makes you want to move? You don't know anything about that, do you?
Yeah, I understand.
Okay, well I do.
Well, we talked about church on
Brian
Sunday.
and I, we grew up on that kind of music. We grew up on it. We understand it well.
I went on Saturday.
Well, he got off easier than Brian and I. We had to go on Sunday morning, Sunday evening, Sunday night, and then 2 times through the week, maybe 3 times, depending on what was going on. We had no choice. But we're not complaining because basically it was the root of our life, the root of our feelings, the root of our soul, that gospel music really was.
And how did you connect with Lamont Dozier?
Well, basically, Brian had to tell you that he connected with Lamont.
Well, I connected with Lamont. We got started. He came to Motown. I met his wife. She was working at Anna Records, and she told me that Anna Records went out of business, and she told me that Lamont was coming over to Motown to record, and I saw Lamont down in the studio writing a song. He and I collaborated on a song. I can't recall the song, but it was a great song. And he and I wrote it, finished writing it, and then we got with Edward to start writing all the rest of the song, how it came HDH, you know what I mean? So he helped us tremendously, because he told me, Brian, let me write all the lyrics for these songs you're writing, and we'll make a great team and make a lot of money. I said, well, okay, that's fine with me. I said, that'd be great, you know, so that's how we started, and I love the way my brother write lyrics. I said, man, unbelievable. And I couldn't believe that he was writing all these songs. And one day, I happened to be working at a gym, and I hear a symphony on the radio. And I pulled over, and I listened to the song very carefully, and how he wrote the lyrics, how he crafted the song. And I started crying. I said, man, oh man. And so I decided to call him. I said, Edward, you wrote the hell out of these lyrics, man. I mean, unbelievable. And he said, you just finally found that out.
No, what it was is that when I first started writing for Brian's melodies and also Lamont's, is that I kept looking for my brother to make a comment. He never made a comment. So I wanted to know, was I giving them what they want? Because actually I was learning as I went along. I did not know how to write songs. You know, and the truth of the matter is that all the song writers were happy. You know, when royalty time came by, these guys were happy. I've never seen so many young, happy faces driving very expensive cars and can afford them in all my life. I mean, it was just unbelievable. And so I basically say, wait a minute, maybe I'm doing the wrong thing. Maybe just singing these songs is not the way for me, because I kept getting these session bills. Well, you got a hit record with Jamie, and now you only owe us $50,000. I said, what? You know, and I looked at my brother. He looked happy. I said, let me see what's going on. So I took some time to really work on learning to write songs, because I figured this is the way I was taught. I'll be frank with you.
But tell him what happened the first time you saw my statement.
First time he saw your
Writer's statement.
songwriter statement.
His songwriter statement, I look at my loss, and I look at the money he had created, or one, I mean, whatever you call it, that he was gaining, you know, and I said, well, maybe I should try that. I said, that's what really triggered me in on it. But basically, I just also was very bored with actually singing songs. It just wasn't for me. And I learned very early that, you know, when you're an artist, that is a heck of a responsibility, basically. Also, it's a type of a thing where you have to really love what you're doing, you know? And that was part of also the input my parents had given me. Whatever you do, you better do the best you can and be the best at it. You know, if you can't be the best at it, be the best that you can do. That was drilled in me. So I took a long time really learning to write these songs. And one of the problems I had in really starting off writing these songs is that it was slowing down Brian often. He said, well, aren't you finished yet? Aren't you finished yet? I said, no, something's missing. But by me teaching myself, I couldn't tell what was wrong with it, but I could sense something wasn't wrong. So I would work at it until I got it correct. But getting a compliment from this guy, it was 35 years later. I mean, can you imagine that? 35 years later, I was totally in the dark, didn't know if I was doing it right, didn't know what. I assume it couldn't have been too wrong because he would have said something.
We're going to hear a little bit of the bare bones of that song in a minute. First, I want to go to one of the Supremes classics, early classics, and in working through this song, tell us what that relationship was, Lamont, you and your brother. So if we listen to you guys doing Stop in the Name of Love, how did that happen? What's each of your jobs in making that record?
Well, Brian's going to have to explain, because they did the melody.
Lamont kind of gets the basic rhythm?
No. I did the song, the melody. You know what I mean? No. Lamont was not really involved with that song, that particular song. Who had that title? I think you did it.
No, I'm not really sure. I think
Lamont had an argument with his girlfriend, that's what he said.
Lamont did. Anyway, I came up with the melody for Stop in the Name of Love. And I recall Burt Bacharach was saying, he said, man, that's one of the greatest songs I've ever heard. I met him at IHOP in California. He said, man, that was one of the greatest melodies I've ever heard. Stop in the Name of Love. I said, well, that's great. I'm happy to hear that, you know. So that's how that happened.
But the thing was, you'd work on the track. You'd be on the floor with the musicians, all right? Hitsville at Motown was very small, little studio in a converted garage. You go down these little wooden steps. And down those wooden steps, up from those steps is the control room, and there's a glass. They have an engineer in there. Brian, you'd be on the floor, am I right?
No, I engineered the session, and then I go back down on the floor.
Okay.
I did it all.
What did you do? After the track was cut, what did you do?
I cut the track, and I go back down after I got everything balanced out and tell them what to do, how to play it and whatnot. And Lamont was involved with that also.
What did Eddie do?
Eddie waited until we finished the track, you know, and then
basically I always had a feeling by one advantages I did have by me being able to sing the songs. I had a feeling of what was going on with the melodies. Sometimes I would tell them to, well, extend this, give me 2 more bars here, give me 4 more bars here, that type of thing. But basically, I waited until the track was turned over to me. Sometimes it had a title, often it didn't. So what I did, I made my own personal experiences part of this song. So some of the things that I was going through, I took that and made it the life of that song.
Right.
You know,
So let's hear a little bit of it. Go ahead. Stop the name of love.
okay, McKinley, one more time.
One more time.
Stop in the name of love before you break my heart.
You doing it?
Stop in the name of love
Join
before you break my heart. Think it over. Think it over. Baby, baby, I'm aware where you go. Each time you leave my door, I'm watching you walk down the street, knowing you'll never love you me. This time before you run to her, leaving me alone and hurt. Think it over. Think it over. I won't stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Stop in the name of love before you break my heart. Think it over. Now all that think it over part. To be perfectly honest with you, that think it over part, what was told to me, because I got caught, you know, when you're young, you're 6, 8, 18, 20. I was just a young kid, 20 maybe, 20, you know, and you see this girl and you see this girl and, you know, whatever. You know, guys, you know what we do when we're 18, 19, 20 years old, you know.
21,
We're just
22.
having a little fun, experimenting a little bit. But anyway, I got caught, and that's, you know, was the derivative of what I experienced, which, you know, looking back on it, it worked out okay.
Now, the year after that, you did something a little more sophisticated. We talked about it earlier. I hear a symphony where you finally got an accolade years later. But I understand that one happened really fast. That song came, you got a phone call, right? Brian?
Well, I got a phone call from Barry Gordy to tell me he liked the track. I took him the track and let him hear the track. And he said, this track is strong, man. We need to get this out right away. I said, well, I got to take it to my brother and let him finish the lyrics. And so I took it over to his house. I knocked on the door, boom, boom, boom. He didn't answer. I knocked again. Boom, boom, boom. He didn't answer. I said, Jesus, what's wrong with him? I knocked again. Then he finally came to the door. He said, what is it? You asleep? I said, well, we got to finish this song so we can get it out. Barry thinks it's very strong, so we can get this song out. So he said, well, you know, I may take, how long? 2 weeks or something to get it done. I said, no. We got to get this song done right away.
He wanted it done that night, okay? Let me explain something. 2 weeks was my time, normal time. A young boy, a young kid with no experience, learning to write songs. I didn't think 2 weeks was too long, you know? And my brother tells me we got to have it tonight because Dinah Ross is getting up and she's going out of town, you know?
Yeah.
And I said, I can't do this. No, he said, you have to do it. So I'm gonna tell you something. That experience was the worst experience I have ever had in my life dealing with a song, the worst. First of all, I was really never a night person. 9, 10 o'clock, man, I'm dead to the world. Whether it's in the movies, whether it's with a girl, didn't matter. I'm going to sleep. That's just the way it was, you know. Sometimes a little embarrassing, but hey, you know. But anyway, and I tried to do this song. And the fact of the matter, I was so burnt out, really. About 12, 1 o'clock, I picked up the phone to call my brother to tell him, hey, I can't do it, I just can't do it. But I didn't want to disappoint him, so what I did, I put the phone down, number one. I said, let me try it again. That went on twice, you know. So I finally came into the studio, got with Diana Ross about 12 o'clock. The song was about 3/4. I was still writing it while I was teaching it to her as we went along. And basically handing her lyrics and singing and whatever. But anyway, it was going a little something like this. You've given me a true love, but every day I thank you, love, for a feeling that's so new, so inviting, so exciting. Whenever you're near, I hear a symphony, a tender melody, pulling me closer and closer to your arms. Then suddenly, your lips are touching mine, a feeling so divine, till I leave the past behind, lost in a world made for you and me. I hear a symphony, it's played sweet and tenderly, every time your lips meet mine. Now, baby, baby. Okay, man, that's it.
So Diana Ross was one singer to write for. Tell me about Levi Stubbs and the Four Tops.
Tough to write.
But he had such a great voice. You could give him something to really yell about.
Yeah, he was a great writer, great singer. But the fact of the matter is, I had heard about Levi long before I even thought about writing. I must have been 14, 15 years old. Levi was around Detroit, and he was a cousin of the great Jackie Wilson.